Well, the gold and silver bull market is here. Time to buy some of those juniors, right? So, exactly how do we choose what to buy? Well, today on Fifth Gen Finance, we've got the help of a new AI agent. Stay tuned, and I'll show you more.
The following is presented for informational and educational purposes only. This is not investment advice. Please consult your financial advisor. Thank you.
All right, so the agent that is provided in this article is none other than Don Durrett. Don has given me permission to make this video, and before we get into the weeds of how this agent was created and what's in the agent, I'll just demo it very quickly for you. So you're going to drop this Markdown file in your favorite AI context window, your favorite chat. You're going to need a professional license, so some sort of pay for use in order to attach files. Typically, that's the case. I believe if you've got like an Office 365 license, it'll even work in Copilot, right? So let's try that. I'll pop that open in a minute. Okay, so all you need to do, evaluate your favorite gold and silver company of choice. Let's go with pause. Why is it hard to think of? Well, it's late in the day. That's why. Let's see here. If I can attach files. Yes, I believe I can. Okay, so add the agent, evaluate company. So it's going to tell we received a moderately strong valuation against Don Durretts' 10-factor audit-driven system. Okay, so I'm going to show you where this comes from. But the audit-driven system that it refers to is I've added a couple of data accuracy checks right at the top of the stack. I don't want to look at all kinds of results before I know that this data was sourced from the correct places and that I've got a fairly clean score in terms of what this AI response is going to provide me with. I want to start with that because that's one of the most important things. So 70% of the data they got from the SEC filings. That's very good. Typically, you'll have some risk scoring, but this is all telling me that it's all high-level passes of sycophancy and hallucination. There is one small, it looks like the sycophancy is complaining that it's missing some analysis. But for the most part, that's a clean bill of health in terms of the quality of data. So then it's going to proceed into Don's 10-factor analysis. And I'll show you where this comes from in a moment. But he's got 10 different criteria groups that he judges an individual stock by. And scores 1 to 10. And for an overall score. So an overall score of sometimes on his site he presents it as stars from 1 to 5 stars. So 10 would be 5 stars and a 9 would be 4.5 stars and that sort of thing. So 7.4 on pause, that seems fairly reasonable. We've got good management, good property share. So there has been some dilution because they've made the big Yamana acquisition. We've got this, the Escobal mine is in Guatemala, is on care and maintenance because of political issues. So it's not really high risk because it's not going to be factored into the calculation of the cash flows at the moment. But that's fair enough. Okay, and then let's see, growth, yes, very high, 8. Market buzz, 7. Cost structure, this is going to, your all-in sustaining cost, improving, better than Hecla, who isn't, and let's see, cash and debt, and then you've got the low valuation. In other words, it's more like a free cash flow at current price, and then the high valuation is more of a valuation at a much higher price of gold. I believe the Don's sort of milestones are 5,000 gold and $100 silver. So this would be 3.5 stars, 3.5 stars for an overall of 7.4. So Don has Pan American at an upside downside valuation rating of 3.5 stars. Pretty good. There it is. 3.5 stars. 7 and 7. So 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So there you go. That's not always going to be the case. You're going to be a little off, but I'm finding that these valuations do kind of come in line with how he evaluates those individual stocks. So moving on down, we've got our current prices, precious metals, generally from Kitco. That's what it was as of today. So if you were to print this page out, you'd have the date stamp. Let's see if this stuff is right. So we've got our market cap, number of shares outstanding, times the price, enterprise value. We have market cap plus net debt, which is debt less cash. 0 seems like a made-up number. It just doesn't seem like it would be exactly 0. But they know they have cash, and they probably have some debt, and it's not equal. So that's an interesting one. Let's follow up with a question on that. Let's see, free cash flow, 293. That sounds right. ASIC of 1969. So Don's ASIC is about 2100. So it's a little low, but typically, let's see. This is from NASDAQ. Some of these are from PEAs that date back a little ways, and the costs have gone up. I find they can come in kind of low. So, but that's not unusual for ASIC anyway. It's always understated. So then, risk-adjusted score. This is the part that I think I'm probably going to change, but I haven't yet. And that is, ounces per share. $1.29 silver ounces per share. So that's pretty good, right? At $33, you're getting a premium. And then footnote there, Pan American Silver is making more money off gold right now. So currently the model has a risk-adjusted score that has to do with the data quality, and I don't know that that's really, I'd ignore it, frankly. I think I'm going to take it out of this model because I get what it's trying to do, is sort of provide, reduce the confidence in scoring, but I'd rather just kind of know what holes there may be in the data. It might not be anything I care about. And in this case, it's not. In our metadata log, just a little piece of information about AI. Temperature is set to 0. I'm always doing that with respect to these sort of quantitative analysis, APIs, where I'm grabbing data and I'm doing a calculation. This isn't about, I'm not asking this model metaphysical questions. I don't want a lot of creativity. So temperature, for those of you who don't know, 10 is the highest level of creativity, or variance, or variance or standard deviation in the response, and a temperature of 0 is the lowest, so you have almost none. So it's very consistent. And then let's see, Matt. The top P is another. I've set these variables in the agent itself to get more consistency, and I've tested it out. That is indeed the case. None of the other metadata elements are returning, but that's what you get. So let's ASIC looks low, right? Fire that off. All right, so primaries, okay. It's reiterating those are indeed the correct numbers. Okay, I'll accept that. It's not impossible. You've got some individual assets here. Everything you see here, you can ask it just to redo any of its free cash flow calculations, or multiples, or however you want. And let's see, performance 52. Okay. this is its calculation. Silver ounces sold, all-in sustaining cost total. So there you go. Those should be auditable numbers. All right, so how do we build something like this? And how was this agent created? So I'd first start with a great specification, and to get a great specification, go get a great book. So Don has written a book called How to Invest in Gold and Silver. It's on Amazon. I'll link it in the article. It's available if you join his site, which is an excellent, I am a member, is an excellent site. All kinds of data that is just very thorough. Just if there's something going on in the gold and silver space, I'm on his site trying to figure out, the ins and outs of the data. So his site's called Gold Stock Data, if you don't know that. So how to invest in gold and silver. Table of contents. All right. So my first go at this, I just threw the whole book in the context window and had an agent get built, and it wasn't terrible. This is a 300-some page book. The context window is big enough to take that, but it wasn't narrow enough for my liking. So then I realized, chapter 10 is really where the real how to value mining stocks. Like, this is the meat and potatoes, right? Let's get how to value mining stocks in an agent, and we'll have that how to value. We'll apply chapter 10 to whatever I give it. I might give it a non-gold and silver stock. That's just a mining stock, because this is how to value mining stocks, not how to value gold stocks or silver stocks. So that's where we start. So here we are in Perplexity Pro. I'm going to set it to research. It's going to give me bigger context window, more runtime. I'm going to drop the book in. There it goes. Using this book, use only chapter 10 to create an agent. All right, and then I'm going to grab my agent architect. This is my generator for all agents. Let's say Perplexity agent architect, create an agent from just chapter 10 of the attached PDF. Recommend a model and output to .md file. Okay. This is going to let me just leave and go get a coffee and kick it off. Away it goes. I'm going to put the pause on it here really quick, fast forward, but this is just a quick second of it. Okay, I'm going to read the book, so on. And I should show you why this makes such a good specification. So I showed you how to fish. Now I'm going to show you how to make fish. How to value mining stocks. We're going to go through here. There's 10 factors, right? So here are the categories. It's going to pick up these categories. There's some examples, example calculations, categories. There's a lot of formulas in here. As you scroll down, especially we get to valuation. Here we go. This is clearly defined, low to high risk. So it's going to create a scoring mechanism automatically for the location. Here's your growth criteria. It's going to tell it to look there in the 43101. It's going to tell it to, all the details Don's laid out here. I mean, he really wrote a Markdown specification without even, 20 years ago, whenever he wrote it, or initially. Let's see. Keep going down here. We're going to see some formulas. So here's kind of some of your basic cash flow formulas. Here's your low valuation formula. All this should get encoded into the model that's being created. Examples. So AI, large language models function on pattern recognition. So when you give example calculations, it just eats it up. Just remember that. There's our low and high ratings, so on, and then more examples, so it just further built it. Let's see if it's complete. All right. There it is. So you saw that created basically in real time. This is a big one, 10K. It's not as big as the one that I was using, but it should be very close. Let's take a real quick peek. Here's your properties and ownership. So this is actually going to be the prompt. So everything, it's going to drop this whole text in. When you just say evaluate a company, it's going to say, it's going to go through proven and profitable, flagship properties, ownership structure, dilution history, all these things, right? And here's your valuation formulas. It's going to provide all those examples. An investment recommendation, evaluation summary, the 10-factor analysis. Here, I clean it. This comes out fairly quickly. Then I spend some hours tuning it and testing it to get better outcomes. But out of the box, you're gonna see pretty with a source as good as and as detailed as that chapter 10. What is it? It's like 30 pages. You've got a fantastic starting point. So anytime you have something like that, that's a methodology, consider that as a possible seed file for the agent you want to build. That's the big takeaway. And then some deployment instructions. Okay. Let's save this guy. We'll just, for grins, we'll fire it off. Let's try eval. Wait, let's do Pan American again just to see. We'll go here. So this is sort of the untuned version, just what AI the Gen agent gave me. I'll let this run. There it goes. It better not be better than the one that I built and tuned up. So market cap. So now it's decided to sort of provide some different looking. Now it's giving something that looks more like Don's. 3.5.4.5 location. Okay. Growth. Okay. Investment recommendation, a buy. Target price 42 to 48, 12 to 18 months. That's not too bad. I have no idea why it's giving me what it gave me. You saw everything. I haven't looked at the agent other than that one pass. Key catalysts. Okay. I mean, amazing stuff. So if you've got a textbook, there you go. The sky's the limit on these things. All right. So let's wrap this up here with just a quick rundown of what's actually in. What is this agent? What's under the covers? This isn't magic. It's just very simple. It's a Markdown file. It's got a little hierarchy. It's all just pseudocode. Certain magic words and phrases work better than others. That's the shortest way I know how to tell you this. You can find more analysis on how to fine tune these things, but I'll spare you most of the details for now. But most of what was created here, I believe this entire agent. This is the agent that I first demoed, that I've done a number of tune-ups to. So 556 lines. I've added reproducibility in some of the configuration, some of the underlying, under the covers things that get AI to operate the same way every time, which is one of the big challenges, frankly. So that's one of the things we're trying to tackle here. So you're an agent doing the 10-factor analysis, etc. Okay, so we're going to use the system here. Here it is. It just sort of converted all the chapters and scoring criteria, or all the sections of the chapter and the scoring criteria for use. And then this is, pattern recognition, give you some calculations. This is how a calculation is defined. I really like this one, fully diluted shares. If you go to any of the finance sites, you're not necessarily seeing fully diluted shares because warrants and options aren't always. You never know. It's a number. You never know unless you do the research. So that's really cool there that we're getting those. I'd probably, come to think of it, like to see all the components so I can time out and do an audit check specifically on that one because it's a key component. A lot of the juniors, they have warrants and some stuff under the covers that dilute the stock more than it may appear. We've got other, standard calculations, all-in costs. You've got an all-in sustaining cost calculation, and so on and so on. This is very straightforward. You can make any updates you want to the way this thing functions. You can change the weight. You can change the analyst focus. You can change the scoring criteria. This is all in plain text. It'd be nice to see a wider variance. I'm getting a lot of scores between 4 and 9 or 8. Everything's kind of 4 to 8, so there's more numbers there. Probably should have a better distribution. I don't know. Most of the stocks I'm looking at were decent stocks. So, okay, here's our recommendation. And here's our, the Appendix B's, all the formulas. Very, very cool stuff here, right? So, and then I added this data quality score components here. I added this data quality to grade on the accuracy, hallucination, and sequency. I have this as a standard check in anything that I intend to build that's fairly robust, where I'm relying on the results. And I don't want to have to do all manual audits every time Gen AI gives me a nice recommendation. Yeah, I want to have some clearance and some evidence. Keep it very simple. And then we have the sort of hierarchy of how we're sourcing the data. So when you build an AI agent, success and failure is going to be entirely around sourcing data from databases and documents and things that are kind of outside of a closed database and a structured database that are just kind of in the report. So when you can, absolutely use Edgar, absolutely use sec.gov. If you can specify the form 10K, 10Q for mining and minerals, 43-101 for oil and gas, 51-101. When you can specify those and hit those reports, it'll knock the cover off the ball. Now, if you're having to rely on Wiki pages and X and all kinds of crazy things. Junior Mining Network, that's a really good one. They've got a lot of covers there, but you have to rely on social media. You cannot rely on social media for data provisioning. It's just fraught with issues. And then, let's see, the check protocols. I may have that in there twice. And that's the extent of it. And then it's always important to provide the analysis report structure. If you do not do this in your agent, the agent will simply decide a random style of 15 pages to give you every single time if you have significant content output that you're trying to build. So provide that memo format and you'll be very, very happy with the depth. Now, if you're not asking for depth, if you just simply want buy, sell, and hold recommendation, you don't need it. But if you want to really digest what you're getting, and you should, use this. And so everything that you see here is actually what the agent's been told to write out to the user as its output, and including the table and everything. So that's kind of how that's done. I've got a disclaimer, and then I got my metadata log, and then this is some standard stuff my agent puts in about how to control, it makes the model run faster and so on. Controls the cost of the context window. It's just all hidden stuff under the covers. Just find a good gen agent that you like. I'll post mine to the article and use the one you like. I find I will regenerate my gen agents when new models hit the working. So I did after GPT-5 came out. And it was improved. I mean, remarkable. So this stuff nobody's really an expert. It's novel technology. So you have to kind of keep testing, keep adapting as you go. That's why I have the checks embedded in the process. If something changes, I need to know it relatively quickly because this is always moving forward. So if you like this content, I'm going to be providing more agent building, more use cases. I've got DCF in the background. I've got some of the parts that I'm working on. That one's coming a long way. We're going to be able to do net present value on all mining and hopefully oil and gas. Just amazing stuff. So subscribe to my Substack at fifthgenfinance.com and look for those more agent helpers and articles and other content. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.